Are you going to be able to find your shop when you roll up to drop off that bike for repair? Are they going to still be there? Are you going to find that brand where you've been long wanting that GT or some other model? Are you going to find those accessories like the packs and the tubes and the tires and the pumps and all the things you've seen advertised to you locally? Ooh, this is going to be a tough one, and we are already in chaos to crisis, back to chaos to crisis. We're going to review currently the state of what the hell's going on with bike shops and also the industry as a whole after this. Hey, welcome back to Another Guy Bicycles Hanging with a Guy. Hey, I'm Justin the Guy. As the wheel turns, so do the days of our rides. Yes, the soap opera continues. And my God, there's not enough time in the day to go over all what's been going on in industry. But here, I want to give you a little bit of insight of what to expect within the next month or two of walking into a bike shop and what the bike brands are doing from the backside in towards the consumer, right? Because the most important part of all of this is you able to go out and ride your bike and have the stuff to support that, right? Well, there's a lot of disruptions up to the last couple of years, and this does not help regardless of how you feel. And this is definitely not a political piece of one side or the other. It's just the result of our current state of the state. Yeah, it's not great. Any case, let's start from the consumer forward. What do I mean by consumer forward? Well, consumer forward is the headwinds of having the right inventory for the right time for people to basically enjoy riding their bikes and those activities. This is not just specifically affecting the cycling retail realm. It's pretty much all retail, but this is my home and this is what we're going to talk about. You, the cyclist. Well, you're going to go into a bike shop. Hopefully they're, number one, still there, because a lot of shops are starting to drop, regardless if they're independent bike shops or corporate stores from Trek or Specialized or Pond Holdings that are Mike's Bikes. Well, finding those shops, they're still there. Hopefully they are still providing the excellent service and supplies and inventory that you, the consumer, are actually looking for. What does that look like? We're going to talk about inventory. Inventory is a very tricky thing. It always has been. That's why I worked for a company called Retail Toolkit, which was an inventory management program mainly, and it basically helped a lot of bike shops across the nation. Well, inventory, being an inventory manager myself at a period of time, always had the interest of complicated algorithms, trying to figure out what you need at what time and when to buy it, to order it, to supply it. That is all hands off down, not right now, because you got a combination of backlash of suppliers giving you too much inventory and discounting it underneath you to direct consumer. So there's a lot of push and pull and heartache for a bike shop for inventory. So they're really going to scale down their inventory to really is their bread and butter stuff, the stuff that you really need, and kind of be really light and polite on other particular models and so forth. If you're looking for that brand new shiny bell and whistle written up in the magazines bike, you may not see it on the showroom floor due to the fact because that bike is going to be discounted by the manufacturer in 2 weeks direct to consumer. So bike shops can't basically put all their eggs in the basket or take a loss, if you will, of those particular models. They're going to be more of your recreational and entry level for the most part. It all depends on the shop and the market and all those things too. But the inventory is going to be, I would say, really thin and light on most fronts for local bike shops. And a lot of it, yes, is going to be ordered, delivered within a day or two. And unfortunately, with the consumer consumption of the late, we're really just focusing on click and collect or click and being shipped to my house that afternoon by all the other services. So inventory, yes, is going to be a little wacky. Well, that goes to, is customers willing to buy anything? Are they ready to buy anything? Well, a lot of people are worried about their purse strings, and rightfully so. Between a loss of jobs, uncertainty, expenses, everything's going up, a lot of question marks, and the whiplash of what we're all feeling the effect is pretty, I don't know, concerning. So that's going to put a lot of people on reserve, not really spend a lot, kind of save, preparing for the worst, hoping for the best situation. So consumer purchasing is going to be less. Well, what that means is the bike shops are going to be preparing for less consumption or usage, or also selling those particular items. So in other words, they may not have as deep inventory, and they're preparing for more service oriented and basically repairing the bikes that you currently have versus trying to sell you the new ones. The customer behavior within the next 3 to 6 months is going to be very, I would say, volatile and kind of really reserve and kind of wait and see situation. Nobody's going to be pulling the trigger on a lot of expensive bikes unless they have a whole bunch of dollars and cents. In any case, that's where the consumer is basically going to be behaving for us. And there lies the big third part. Oh, direct-to-consumer online sales eroding the bike. This is happening for at least 3 decades, people. Performance Bike used to do it to us back in the day. Nash Bar. If you've been around, you know those names. It's nothing new. It's just more broad now. And through COVID, it conditioned a lot of customers just to buy something to have that instant gratification. I'm the same way with stuff. I mean, can you blame them? No. But as a storefront, they actually want to give you the extra service. They're not going to be, some stores will match price those, so keep that in mind as well. But in any case, the behavior is, yes, those particular direct consumer. One big thing in the latest news is de minimis, which is basically the tariff, non-tariff charges of 800 and below, is working to be dissolved. Why I say that? Well, about a month ago they were saying it's done, and 4 days later they came back. What that is basically they can ship directly from a foreign country into the United States as long as it's under $800 direct to the consumer. Therefore, all these companies popped up. Temu, AliExpress, a lot of Amazon sub-companies, and you'll find them all as well on eBay and various other places. This was a huge pipeline for a lot of companies to push a lot of less expensive product, a lot of less expensive e-bikes too, into United States market without going through customs or any of that, taxes or anything of that nature. Well, the tricky bit is it doesn't comply to our standards of safety. That is a big thing, and it has been for a while. It could be coming in with lead paint and nobody will know. It could come in with toxin materials on it, could cause harm. It doesn't have any of those stickers that we have from California or various other places, warnings and so forth. Well, there is a pretty big risk on that part of it. Maybe not so huge, but maybe it is. But what it really does, it erodes the sales from Trek, Specialized, and all those smaller companies too that are selling packs and racks and all those other accessories, trying to compete, but they can't because it's coming directly from the lower costs of China. And what the heck? Are you going to buy a pack for 20 bucks or are you going to buy a pack for 80 bucks that is made in the United States? Probably not. So shutting that down is going to help those particular companies be able to compete, but as a consumer, that takes away those cheaper products. Yeah, some are going to hate it, some are going to love it. You know, at the end of the day, it's just going to be weird. That's the retail front. So what about the big boys like Trek, Specialized, Giant, and everything? And again, this is only my opinion based of a snapshot of what I see from my shop out. So, hey, this is what it is. And again, I don't drink anybody's Kool-Aid. I don't have vendors. So this is basically gloves off, just going to say how I see it. The 3 big factors for suppliers are going to be supply chain vulnerability and costs. What we're talking about that is they don't know how much anything's going to cost between all these tariffs. One day it is twice as much, when it's not, and they're looming April 2nd, not 1st, because they thought it'd be a funny joke. Regardless, we're horrible. What it's going to be for them is complete uncertainty. Why? Because they don't know how to forecast any of their stuff because of costs. And that trickles down to where they buy it, how much it's going to cost to get into the United States, how much they're going to have to charge to sell it to the vendors, how much they're going to charge it to the consumer. So there's a lot of, how can you forecast between 6 to 9 to 12 months on products being shipped out of other countries into the United States when you can't even understand what week to week it's going to be? So that inventory costs are just going to fluctuate, and they can't adjust it so quickly. I mean, stuff gets printed and then gets upped. I don't know. Already expensive products in the cycling industry from those particular brands are most likely going to go up or down in quality for the same price, which we've already been dealing with that already for the last 2 years to 10 years to however long they got that great idea. So the headwinds of demand. When you have economy which is very rocky at best and not be able to forecast what your actual sales are going to be to some average level from any base, that is very troublesome because they're not able to understand what they're going to put into the stores, especially if their own stores, and they're going to be a lot of shifting around. This is going to be a lot of adjustments on the fly, and a lot of companies are going to have to kind of cut back. Shimano did the same thing, and Shimano is kind of like a predictator of how the market's going to be-ish, because a lot of the companies for their bikes do pre-orders with Shimano months in advance, and therefore actually shows what the current adjustments are going to be. Not looking good, it's gone down. But what Shimano also did is cut a lot of fat out of the company, therefore they actually showed a profit even though a downturn of sales. That is going to be the same thing you're going to be seeing with all the major companies. Yes, they're going to be finding everywhere they can to make it a lot less expensive from their overhead costs. Trek's going to close some stores. Specialized might do the same thing. Pon as well, as you saw with dropping the GT line. They're basically narrowing down their actual product lines as well as their costs of running their business. However that's going to be. According to John Burke, it's right-sizing the company. Starting last year, this time, where a memo got leaked, they're still probably going to be right-sizing their way out of this, if they can. That's a big tricky question there. So inventory, customer nervousness, I don't know. And lastly is the competition. When you're looking at these individual companies that have been duking it out just as much as on the Tour de France race teams, head to head, racing to the bottom in a lot of aspects. They're going to be and have been changing their actual models. Direct-to-consumer sales, retail front stores, all those things have been in play for the last 3 to 5 years. Well, what are they going to do going into this economical turmoil case globally? I mean, it's not just here in the States, it's just going to trickle effect everywhere else. Are they going to find some successes in other countries besides here? Possibly. Well, any case, it's going to be a rough go for those particular U.S. companies trying to navigate through all of this and try to take care of us consumers at home here in the United States and abroad. Hey, I love my neighbors to the north and the south. Don't get me wrong. I'm just a normal guy in a garage working on bikes, dealing with this day to day. Well, a lot of the shops are going to be focusing more on service and used products because, hey, there's no tariffs on used products yet. I don't know how they do that, but they probably will find a way. Any case, we're trying to basically revamp our cycling season. The thing is there's a whole bunch of cyclists still out there, and we're riding. That leads to my recap. So there's two big organizations within the cycling industry, mostly for the retail front of it, but they do work hand in hand with the big corporations as well. Well, National Bicycles Dealers Association, they've been around for a long time. They have P2 groups. They really kind of help bike shops navigate through any scenarios that occur, from service to product to store development to all those things. I actually had one of my owners that I worked for went to several of those P2 groups, and he came back with a whole bunch of great ideas. So that really helps out. And actually at CABDA West, which I'll be going to in a few weeks here, they're going to be there doing their little song and dance and show. I'll sit in on a couple of their talks and see what kind of insights I get from it, which for me, I'm pretty small. I don't see anything that's going to be affecting me too much, but hey, I could always learn something. I'm always learning. So therefore, there's an opportunity for bike shops, if have not already joined the National Bike Dealers Association, or they've been listening in or chiming in and that kind of thing, it is definitely a resource for them to help navigate and lobby for cycling communities and help bike shops become, guess what, better for the customer. So they are a great organization. They've been around for a long time, and they have a really good pool of influencers in the cycling realm that have been around for forever, and they are willing to share, which is super nice because Trek and Specialized and Giant, they don't like to share between each other. It's very aggressive at the top end, but when you're looking at the bike shop people, we love each other because, you know, that's all we got, right? Another association is called PeopleForBikes, which is actually based in Boulder, Colorado. They do a lot of lobbying and so forth, and people may have heard this particular organization. They also have a summit going on down in Phoenix, Arizona, prior to CABDA about trying to figure out how we're going to navigate our state of the state. Our state of the state is basically, and you know, it's going to be, hopefully some people have some really good ideas, because we're all going to need every really good idea to just get through what we're dealing with today. And if we do survive through all this, we're going to be stronger than ever, but we have to first survive, right? So between those two major organizations, it's going to help your local bike shop, independent bike dealers, help navigate through all this. And they are not just stuck to the United States. They also have dealers from Canada, South America, and so forth. I've worked with them over the year with working at Retail Toolkit, which is very heavily tied with the P2 groups. So, hey, there is communities out there that help bike shops navigate through all this. It all depends how the bike shop is receiving that information and actually applying it to their own store. That's the tricky bit. Maybe a disconnect. Maybe it's going to be force them to do a lot of different things than they have not done before. But at the end of the day, there is some help and basically a lifeline for those independent bike dealers to help each other out. The big guys, maybe not so much. This is really, everything that's going on right now is really have targeted them, and it doesn't look great for them at all. But as long as we can still get some tubes, tires, and chains and cables and wax and some tools, your local bike shop is still going to be there. Even if we have to dig through the trash to repurpose those old parts because, hey, they're still okay to use, we're going to be doing that too. In any case, if you're a shop owner, if you're part of the cycling community, you have to chime in. This is a community. Please put some comments below. Try to share all the information to help each other out. If you see anything in your neck of the woods you want to bring to light, please comment below and I'll try to add some emphasis on it as well in my next video. And again, it makes you to make this channel, so thank you for watching in, and please like and subscribe below. And hey, got some beauties to work on, so I better get cracking and get back to work. So we're always trying to keep busy in the shop, and trying to take care of our local customers and abroad. But in any case, if it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. And until next time, have a wonderful day.